Welcome address by Rakesh Wahi, founder of the Future of Education Summit and co-founder of the ABN Group.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a privilege for me to welcome you to the Future of Education Summit 2021. I spent the last few months in India and witnessed at close quarters the carnage the country has gone through during the second wave. Sadly, it appeared that no one learned any lessons from 2020 and assumed that the pandemic was over. As the country is slowly getting back to its feet, there are few families that were not affected in one way or another from COVID 19. The scars will heal, but the memories of this suffering will remain entrenched in the hearts and minds of people all over the world. The warnings from the WHO and other multilateral organizations must be taken seriously, and we must not put our guards down. I do want to caution everyone that as we plan the future, let us not forget the present, where the worst of the pandemic is not over, and we must act responsibly until everyone is vaccinated and COVID is behind us. The last 16 months of the pandemic have forced all industries to transform. The pace of change has been rapid. More importantly, acceptance and adapting to change has been expeditious, as people had few choices owing to restrictions, including but not limited to mobility. The way we fulfill our needs has changed dramatically, and I dare say that a large part of this evolution is going to remain irreversible. This current transformation has impacted the education industry significantly. While there was a trend towards edutech and online education, the pandemic expedited the move to online teaching and learning. It has exposed both the opportunities and the weaknesses of online education, and it is evident that the way forward will be a version of blended learning. The student experience is at the heart of the first degree earned by young graduates, and therefore, there is a reluctance on the part of educators to move away from this important value. This, however, will be impacted by student mobility as cross border movement restrictions will prevent international students from traveling. Some countries, like Australia, have been stricter than others, and the lack of access will escalate the need for collaborations and partnership models for the future. Even those that did not believe in offshore campuses will be forced to consider the need for satellite campuses if they are to stay truly international. One of the questions being asked today is whether the current pathway for academic progression relevant for the future. This question applies for most students and not just the small percentage that get PhDs and are academically inclined. Students are truly concerned about their ability to find relevant jobs after finishing university. As illustrated by the African Development Bank, the majority of youth in Africa do not have stable economic opportunities. The AFDB reported that out of the 420 million African youth aged between 15 and 35, one third are unemployed, and another third are vulnerably employed. Youth face roughly double the unemployment rate of adults, with significant variation by country. While 10 to 12 million youth enter the workforce each year, only 3.1 million jobs are created, leaving a vast number of them unemployed. This is a serious issue facing us, as youth unemployment will lead to other societal problems. The pandemic has further compounded unemployment across the globe, particularly white collar jobs. Research shows that there are more highly educated people among the unemployed than the employed. Families are investing heavily in education that may not ensure sustainable employment. While some may argue that this is a temporary phase, the overwhelming reality is that employers today want work ready staff and not those that need 6 to 9 months to train. Skill-based learning is becoming an essential part of the pedagogy. Furthermore, employers are looking for multi-skilled and outcome-based employees who are tech-savvy and can seamlessly work remotely. The facilitation of cross-program choices is becoming a necessity. It is evident that the needs of the demand side of the equation are changing rapidly, and education providers and regulators need to correspondingly enable the supply side. Summarizing my discussions with various ministers of education across sub Saharan Africa, the key message has been to move away from traditional graduate and postgraduate programs into technical and vocational education. Governments are happy to subsidize 100% students up to secondary education, but after school, they want to encourage skills-based education. This is based on national goals, sectors in which investments are likely to take place, and a skills audit to better understand the gaps between available skills and opportunities. The education sector, particularly the private sector, needs to recognize and align with these strategic goals so that capacity is created to meet demand. These paradigm changes bring me to the theme of today's conference, redefining the purpose of education to align with the needs of the fourth industrial revolution and those of our future generations. The purpose of education has evolved over the last 100 years from preparing contributing members of society to critical thinkers, teaching morality, enabling creativity and productivity, thereby resulting in a learning and ethical society. However, each of these values limits the scope of education in today's context. If we recognize that education must address the needs of the society in which it exists, then it's clear that we have to adapt to the current and future needs as they evolve. An essential aspect of change is not to simply tweak an existing model, but rebuild a model that is universally acceptable. If education is a journey, then every effort must be made to ensure that the stages are modular and allow for a unified accreditation that is recognized as a common standard. The European Union recognized the need for unification through the Bologna reform process that was started in 1999. Similar standardization is needed across the African continent with the purpose of having a higher education system that has an inclusive and innovative approach to teaching and learning, a homogeneous international collaboration in research and innovation, and the ability to ensure a sustainable future. While I have painted a high-level picture with current realities, there are a multitude of additional matters that will be addressed in the discussions with our esteemed panelists today. We have speakers from all over the world, and this forum is all about thought leadership and collaborations. We must work together, leveraging our individual and organizational strengths for a better future. Finally, I'd like to thank the Eiffel Corp, WUMA, Vodacom, the Transnational Academic Group, the University of Cape Town, the University of Johannesburg, Curtin University Dubai, Lancaster University Ghana, CNBC Africa, and Forbes Africa for supporting this forum. We could not have done it without you. With these words, I welcome you all to what I believe will be an excellent and interactive forum. Your presence and contribution are appreciated. Thank you very much.